Good morning, Wild Earthers, and welcome to Live at the Waterhole with myself, Sean Taylor, and the awesome Wild Earth team. We are excited because it's Friday. Was a Friday to everybody. It's the start of the weekend. And it's a good day for all of us, really. I think a lot of us are excited about later this afternoon where we can open up our drinks, whether they be alcoholic or not, and enjoy the weekend. For some of us, the first weekend of the new year, as a lot of the guys went back to work this week, has been a tough week, but we are here to assist and to help you relax into the weekend. That's our job. Don't forget, guys, that we love hearing from you. We love listening to you. We love getting your stories. Please feel free to contact us via WhatsApp or one of our various social media channels, and we'd be very happy to take any comments or questions from you. As you know, I love listening to you and getting some correspondence from you guys. And we start today at Aldonio with some impala. Now, remember, when I was first going to do this show, I thought to myself, what animal should I send a little voice note in for of me talking about that we'll see quite often? And of course, being a guide, the first thing you think of is impala, because that's pretty much everything. You see impala all the time. We call them the McDonald's of the bush because there's one around every corner. So I did my little recording on that, and to be honest with you, I think I have seen way more elephants on this show than I have done impala. So this is just I know I've been guiding for a long time, but this is exciting to actually have some close-up of impala. And they really are the McDonald's of the bush. They are everywhere, these guys. You see them pretty much, the area will be quiet. Sometimes there won't even be birds calling, and you'll think, jeepers, what is going on? And next minute, this lone bull impala will just appear from the bush. And you think, where did you come from? Where are you going? How are you, what are you doing here? It's absolutely nuts. So we love them to death because they give us lots of things to talk about, and they are fascinating creatures, actually, the way they behave. The males in particular, very strange. They have this rutting call that they let out that is just, if you hear it for the first time in the bush, you'd swear that it's a leopard calling or a lion calling. It's like a big guttural sound. And you think, jeepers, what is happening? Are we being attacked by wild animals? But in fact, it's just a very strange and odd male impala that's running around busy bellowing, I think is the best way that I can describe it. And they are now going into their rutting season. So slowly but surely, we have had a lot of rain around, and the barometric pressure does shift it slightly. But mostly with the moon cycles and the seasonal cycles, they'll be going into their rutting season, which means that every male between the age of 3 and 8 years old will be going nuts, pretty much. They'll be running around. They will be trying to create a harem of females, essentially. This is their goal in life. To gather as many females as possible before around about April. So it's quite a long rut. And then they get to mate with those females. So it's a good goal, no? Sounds like a great time. But it takes a lot out of them. So you can imagine months of this rutting happening. It takes its toll on their conditioning. They're also not paying attention really to what's going on. So quite often, I've seen quite a few times in my guiding career, one of these males just literally running straight into lion or straight into leopard because they aren't paying attention essentially to what's actually going on. And it's quite funny to watch. So these guys will carry on and do their thing, as we see a beautiful big male giraffe there as well. They'll carry on with their rutting season until about April. until eventually the more dominant bulls and the ones that have started a little bit later will take over the harems, and then they will mate with those females. And the gestation period for these impala is 8 months. So the females carry quite a while until the end of the year, but the reason for that is so that there's enough food around when the rains start for them to be able to produce some good quality, decent milk for their cherubs. And if you guys are out and about in the bush at the moment, you would have seen a million of these little cherubs running around. They are very, very cute. They essentially look like little mini me's, and that's exactly what they are. And they are stunning and very, very cute, and they go into little nursery herds and they make strange little goat sounds. And yeah, being in the green season, as we call it, and the summer season here, besides lots of floods and having to do boating safaris, it is it's an amazing time to be around. So yeah, they're very, very interesting animals, and unlike in North America we get deer there, here they are antelopes, so they are slightly different in the way that in particular they drop their antlers or horns. So in the impala, being part of the antelope fraternity, they carry those horns their whole life. So they start peeking through at about a year old, and they are pretty much fully grown by the time they get to about 2.5, and they stick with those horns forever. They don't fall off like the antlers of the rutting animals. So anybody overseas, you'll understand that these guys carry them all year round, whereas your guys don't carry them all year round, your deer. So after that explanation, the poor tech guys have been trying to get me over to Founders for a while, but I've been banging on about my impala. We're going to head over to Founders and go see what's going on there. So we've gone from one very common animal to another very common animal, this time a bird, and that is an Egyptian goose, who, I don't know, doesn't look too impressed with what is going on, with weather-wise. It looks like it seems like it's a bit cold and a bit dreary there in the Eastern Cape. I do know that there's some weather supposed to be coming in, or has already arrived in the Eastern Cape. If any of you have been watching the game drives, you'll see that at the moment we are being hammered with rain, kind of in the north, particularly in the northeastern part of the country. And I know a few of you guys have reached out to various people asking kind of what's going on. So just a very, very quick overview. So we essentially are flooding at the moment in the northeastern part of the country. And even for this weekend, we've got a red level 10 warning, which is very disruptive rain essentially. Kruger National Park has been suspended for day visitors. There's about 600 guests that have been evacuated. Some of the camps are actually underwater. It's pretty crazy at the moment what's going on in the Greater Kruger area. And I know a lot of you would have seen them if you've been watching the drives. I know Amy's been keeping you guys up to date, but it's pretty severe. It's pretty crazy at the moment. So I'll join you guys, I'm sure, in sending all our love to everybody that side, all our guard friends, all the lodge owners, all the management teams. We are thinking of you guys, and we're looking forward to the rains slowly subsiding. They essentially have had over half their annual rainfall in the last week. So it's literally close to about, I think it's on about 350 mils right now. That is absolutely nuts. So we're thinking of you guys and sending much love to all of you, and looking forward to things drying out a little bit, although I think it is going to take a little bit of time. But anyway, after that, let's move back to our goose friend. So these guys are very common. very loud in the springtime. So if any of you have been out in the bush in spring, these guys become your essentially your alarm clock. They go on the top of the roof and they just belt out this incessant quacking, essentially, and it just does not stop. And the males chase each other around. They are monogamous, so male and females breed every season together, but they fight each other and chase each other off, and it's quite crazy actually to watch these guys work around. And then they have their little goslings, and it's very, very sweet and very, very cute to see little goslings moving around with their drab little colors, like that story, The Ugly Duckling. It's very cute, with mom and dad busy looking after them. If you go near them, they hiss at you. And let me tell you, I don't know if any of you have ever been bitten by a goose before, but they bite and then they twist and it hurts. Let me tell you, unfortunately I have been bitten by one, and my voice went from as deep as it can go to very, very high. I sounded a bit like Michael Jackson actually when I got bitten. It wasn't very manly, I've got to say, but it did hurt, and it actually left a little bit of a scar. But yeah, that's my war story. Sadly, I don't have any on lines, but I have been attacked by the odd Egyptian goose. This one is super, super chilled. I know there are some goslings around, founders, as you guys know. The other day they were kind of floating around. They were the DJs on Monday for the big rhino party that was happening. How cool was that sighting, by the way, guys? How awesome was it? So there are more around, and these guys actually are quite creative with their nest building. It's quite interesting. You'll find their nests on the ground. Sometimes they'll use old raptor nests or hammercorp nests. Now, hammercorp are also a water bird. A little bit, I don't know if I want to use the word smaller, but a little bit kind of slender build than the Egyptian geese. But their nests are massive, absolutely huge. They're like the condos of the bird world. And sometimes they'll nest in those as well. But then sometimes they'll move 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers away from the water. But that will depend on what kind of predators there are around in the area. So if there are a lot of crocodiles, and in particular monitor lizards, the monitor lizards hammer them quite badly. They'll tend to move further and further away from the water as they're breeding, so that they can at least bring up their little goslings, which is quite cute, very, very cute. And it's quite funny to watch. Sometimes they'll build, these nests will be like 60 meters or so high, 50, 60 meters up. And it's so funny to watch these little goslings on their first step out of the nest. They just fall, and you think, oh no, and they kind of fall out of the nest and land. And you think, okay, well, poor little Geraldine, the gosling, is ended up as a splat on the floor. But no, Geraldine gets up, shakes it off, and carries on with life. It's quite interesting to watch them all fall off, and then they hang around mom and dad, and off they go to the water for their first little swim, which is very, very cute. And you find them all over the place. So the majority of their breeding is July, August, September, October, so end of winter going into spring. As I said, they're quite loud with breeding. But yeah, they are very interesting birds and very, very common. You find them in the bush, you find them on the golf courses, you find them. I live in an estate, and they're all over the estate, much to my dismay in spring because you know in KwaZulu-Natal the sun doesn't rise very early in spring, so it's still fairly dark, and these guys land on the roof. I've got a tin roof, so it lands on the roof. It sounds like a plane has landed on the roof. And then they have a fight or they do something, and it's, yeah, you know it's spring. It's funny, being a guide, you can always tell with the birds when the weather is changing. In fact, it's so interesting. I think I had guests with me in, I think it was August, in the greater Kruger area, and we were having some birds that were coming in very early. So birds that should only really be returning kind of late September going into October, sometimes even later, they were actually returning fairly early. And I said to my guest, I feel almost like we're going to have a lot of rain this season because of the way that the birds are acting. And true as nuts, we're getting these heavy rains. So it's amazing how these animals will adapt their patterns around the weather. I know also during the drought that we had, that the animals also adapted. There were some birds that we didn't see for 2 years, and then some birds that came and then didn't leave the next winter. They just hung around. So it's so interesting. You don't need apps on your phone, people. You just need to watch the birds. They'll tell you everything you need to know, even in the early morning. If you get up and get everything ready for the guests for the game drive and the birds are going nuts, you know that it's going to get really, really hot. So we're going to head off now, leave our slightly sad and melancholy goose friend, and we're going to head over and see some baboons. I always love it when the baboons are at this waterhole. So it seems like something has happened, and they off they go. But they don't seem to. I don't think it's anything like a predator or anything like that. Possibly maybe an elephant or something that's just kind of pushed them off. But baboons, such strange creatures. They sometimes will just go absolutely nuts, and you think, jeepers, is there a leopard around you? Because leopard and baboons are eternal enemies. They hate each other with a passion. So sometimes when they go absolutely crazy, you start looking around immediately for where's the leopard, and they're just having a little family squabble. So odd. They're very strange creatures, but also very interesting to watch. I can sit for hours watching these guys because they just are so funny. And there's a dominant hierarchy within the troop, and you can actually see it by looking at the tail. So the more pronounced the kink in the tail, the more dominant the baboon is. So you'll find that a very dominant, in particular male baboon, they've got that swag about them, like walking around like, yes, that's right, look at my tail, I'm the boss. And he has a very, very high kind of kink. And then you'll get ones that are kind of got like a rounded tail. There's not much kink to it. And those are normally the subordinate baboons, and their job is to kind of go up and become sentries in the trees, find food for the troop. And where they get their dominance from is actually their mothers. So when they are born, if they are born to a very dominant mother, they will claim her dominance. So that'll then become they'll become a dominant kind of figure within the youngsters, and that will change with the males as they get a little bit older, if they feel like they can challenge for basically for territoriality or taking over the troop. But with the females, they generally, whatever they inherit, they generally will keep. They don't really change or anything like that. But I've been babbling on, guys. I'm just excited. I'm excited it's Friday. I'm excited to be with you guys again. And I haven't been looking at the questions. So Mr. Bobo from Nigeria, you asked for the assessment on the flooding. So I think I filled you in. We must have been synced, Mr. Bobo. We must have been synced about that. I just wanted to fill you guys in. But yeah, it's not good. It's we think. So myself and the producer and the tech team were chatting before the show started, and we actually think it's going to supersede the 2000 flood. there are some camps that have got, for those of you that have gone to Kruger Park, they have signs in a lot of the camps along the river and along river courses of the flood level and the 2000 floods in January. There's a lot of footage going around at the moment where it's pretty much at that level now, or superseding it. So, Mr. Bobo, it's not good. I think this is going to be a record-breaking flood. We're already into billions of rands worth of damage to homes, to people, to road networks, to lodges, to infrastructure. It's pretty crazy what's going on, and it's not ending. It's this weekend. We're still due some rain. I'm just hoping it's not going to be as bad, but I'm really hoping that by the end of the weekend, going into next week, things kind of back off a little bit. We kind of need it. Otherwise, we're going to have to trade our Toyota Land Cruisers in for some jet skis, I think. Not to make light of it, but that's how bad it is. So yeah. And then Johan, hello Sean and friends. Hello Johan, thank you for joining us. Hopefully it's a good show. Yeah, hopefully, and happy Friday to you as well. We've already had some good sightings, so that'll be good. And then Claire Cat, you were saying about the impala, they are amazing horns. They are amazing horns. The impala have got some, I mean, they're actually beautiful creatures, Claire, to be honest with you. They've got that like 3-tone coloration, and the males have those beautiful horns, and the females have got those big brown eyes, and they are cute, and the babies are just next level. They are one of the cutest creatures in the African bush. They're just phenomenal. I just love impala. There's not enough time in the day to keep stopping for them, unfortunately. So I think when I'm with new guests that haven't come to Africa yet, I think I stop maybe twice, and then the only other time I'll stop for impala again is if there's really nice light in the early morning or afternoon for some photography. But there's just so many of them, you'd be stopping every 5 minutes, you wouldn't see anything. They're just everywhere. It's crazy. We'll head back to our baboons that seem to calm down. I'll have a look at them and watch them having a little bit of a drink here. So the baboon.
Step into the exciting world of the original science. Next September, Master Tracker Renus Mhlongo and Wild Earth's Steve Falconbridge lead a spectacular safari through the Kruger, where you'll learn to identify tracks and then trail iconic big game on foot. Days are spent immersed in the field, evenings around the fire sharing stories, from the hair-raising to the hilarious. This is the ultimate wild immersion for the nature connoisseur.
Even a hyena coming into the action as well now. Oh my word! She's stalking the hyena now. Leopard, hyena, lion, all together in one shot. Oh. Whoa. This is action-packed.
Do you want to know why impala are the most common antelope we find here in the Kruger National Park? You can ask me questions like this in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live. Connect with nature.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
If you love watching Wild Earth, here's a little tip. Become a member. You can gain access to the channel ad-free, you can rewind and re-watch sightings, and you can join our Tuesday live safaris. There's also behind the scenes videos, fireside chats, and every Safari Live episode, whenever you want it. It's just a better way to stay connected to nature.
So, Willow, it does seem like that, but I would say it's 50-50. So, like I said, they nest on land. So they'll either be in trees or in nests, as I said, and they often move off on land, and they will feed on certain things on land. They also, you see them quite a lot on land around places like, as we hear, a young baboon. I don't know if you can hear that. One of the youngsters are, I think, being disciplined. I think mom's had enough and he's had a whack on his bum. So Willow, they, when you see them around human habitation, often what happens is people are actually feeding them. And so they're giving them bread, which is really bad for animals, guys. If you are an animal feeder, just be wary with bread, because of the fermentation. It's really not good for animals and birds in particular as well. So people will feed them bread, or if they're in areas where the Egyptian geese come around quite a lot, they'll throw some seed and stuff down for them. And so, Willow, when you see them a lot on land around human habitation, it's often because they get fed there. But it's also very safe, Willow. So when they've got their goslings, the water is the danger zone for everything. Whether you're an impala or whether you're an Egyptian goose, the water is the danger zone. That's where the predators are. And for Egyptian geese in particular, they get their goslings and their eggs get hammered by monitor lizards and by snakes as well, to a certain degree. And so monitor lizards generally will be hanging around the water side, and so they'll take their goslings out and move around, but they do spend a lot of time in the water too. Just like ducks and other geese, they do have a thin oil on their feathers that they need to, sometimes that oil coagulates, and it interferes with flying, and it itches as well. And so often they'll go into the water, they'll feed in the water. It helps to cool them down too, but you'll see them swimming and bathing in that water just to get rid of that coagulation, clean up that oil a little bit, and then they get up and hop around again. So it's kind of 50-50, Willow. You kind of don't really want to be the baboons behind these guys. I mean, the view must be pretty bad, let's be honest. You can see the guys there are running off. They're like, oh no, look, it's Harold's bum again, let's get out of here. Yeah, I'm glad we've got this vantage point, let's just say it like that. And they're so funny how they sit and behave. It's so weird. So I've got a question from Candace as well. Hello, Candace. I hope you are well, and thank you for joining us. And I hope your weekend is phenomenal too. So Candace, guys, is asking, what's the difference between an Egyptian goose and a shell duck? I'll give you a few different ones. So obviously, the markings will obviously be different as well, but in particular their range is very different. So your Egyptian geese, for example, something very interesting about an Egyptian goose that some of you might not know, is an Egyptian goose is actually not a true goose, believe it or not. It's actually more closely related to shell ducks. funnily enough. So they are quite closely related, hence the similar markings and similar looks. But Egyptian geese are obviously, their personalities are a little bit different. They're a lot more bolder than the shell ducks. The shell ducks tend to be a lot more a lot shyer, but it's mostly because of where they live, which is essentially the drier areas of the country. And because of that, there's not a lot of human habitation around, as with the Egyptian goose, where they're on the golf courses and all of that. So they're not as used to humans as the shell ducks would be. And also the Egyptian geese are very, very loud and assertive. So if you're at a waterhole and you see a duck / goose making a very loud noise, opening up their wings, chasing each other around, that's often almost 99% of the time an Egyptian goose, whereas the shell ducks are much calmer, a lot more chilled. They don't freak out like the Egyptian geese do all the time, and they also pretty much water orientated as well, although the shell ducks actually do lay their eggs in old aardvark burrows, interestingly enough. But they're more water orientated than the Egyptian geese are. So, and of course their look is different. It's difficult to describe. The females have got very distinctive white heads. So besides the wing patterns, if you just see the wings, Candice, they do look quite different in terms of the brown on the back and the white head with the shell ducks. So yeah, it's mostly behavioral and just range as well, Candice. That is the difference between the two. I think it's Hariloli, Hariloli. I hope I'm getting your name right. Thank you for joining us. So you're saying that you do wish that you had some of that rain to help out with those fires. 100%. With no water around, I can imagine. It's crazy, isn't it, that literally you can have, probably after the weekend, over 400 mils of rain 1,000 kilometers away, and have hardly any rain further down south. But the Western Cape is a Mediterranean climate, so the climate is very different, so it's not uncommon for that to happen. But yeah, it is pretty much unfair. You wish you could just build like a big canal and channel some of that water down to you. It would actually help out quite a lot for us, I think. We're going to head over to Tau and leave our baboon friends to peacefully enjoy their water under the shade of this tree, and we'll move on. Cool, man. So we've moved over to Tau, and we have a knob-billed duck alongside the Egyptian geese. It seems to be geese/duck day. I like this. I love birds, as you guys know. Although, how many times have I been caught out in East Africa where we've shot over to a bird and I'm like, oops, guys, help. But luckily, I know exactly who these guys are. And as you can see, when that duck turns its head, which it just did now, you can see that very prominent knob on its bill, and that is where the name the knob-billed duck comes from. Now the females do not have that. And to be honest with you, I think it's probably a good thing that they don't have that, because it does look pretty weird and strange, and I don't think they would enjoy it. But for him, sadly, it does look like he has something wrong with him, but it's not. It's quite a prominent knob on his beak there. It's very common, and he looks very proud of it, let's be honest. I see some shadows or some reflections, should I say, in the water there of something moving around as well. But what a beautiful shot. You don't often see these guys kind of moving around that much. They generally are hanging, you see them at the waterside, but you don't often get a really nice sighting of them. They generally fly away or they move off somewhere. So that's actually quite a cool sighting of them, and they're very, very interesting birds actually. And I'm reading the comments here. Bushbokkie, you're saying that you love impala as well, and you're saying just listening to them, you absolutely love it. So yeah, they, you know what, Bushbokkie, they are funny animals. They just, sometimes I'll be sitting just kind of looking out at a waterhole or kind of just drifting off, and this a group of impala will do the weirdest thing. The males do this funny thing where they flick their tongue in and out. It's to quote my wife, it's severely unattractive. Hopefully she was talking about the impala when she said that. I don't know, I wasn't listening that much. But she doesn't think, hopefully, that it's very attractive when the impala do it. With these big black tongues of theirs as they're going in and out. It's very strange. Mostly during the rutting season, as I mentioned, which is happening now. But, funnily enough, they sometimes will do it out of the rutting season as well. So I've seen male impala chasing each other around out of the rutting season, and I feel like just pulling them aside and going, gents, you have to give it a rest. The ladies are pretty much all pregnant. You're in a bachelor herd, and sure, if you're practicing for next year, that's great, good, well done, but you've got to give it a rest. Times have changed. Maybe have something to eat, relax a little bit, have a drink. It's all fine. There's only a couple of months left over, and then you can start rutting again. See, the Egyptian goose is having a bit of a munch there as well. So that knob on the top of that knob-billed duck's beak is actually it's actually a skin flap. So it's not like keratin or anything like that. It's actually a weird kind of skin flap. And they do look quite different. So like I was saying, the females don't have it. And the males, as you can see, so he's got like black freckles on his face. Now that varies, so you do get some that have very few little black spots on their face, and some where it's almost completely black. It's very, very interesting actually. I love these guys, they're very, very cool. And they are breeding at the moment, so this is their major breeding season. They start in December and go through pretty much all the way through summer, so he'll be a busy boy. And they are monogamous to a point. There are some instances where they've found that the knob-billed ducks are not as monogamous as, say, an Egyptian goose would be. But sometimes it depends on the habitat. So if you've got knob-billed ducks that are in habitat where there's not a lot of them, and it's infrequent, so they can't breed there all the time, they do tend to be monogamous and will stick with one female. But in areas where the food is good and the water sources are good and it's a great area, the males become polygamous, and sometimes they can have up to 10 females that'll be following them around. So I don't know how many he has, but yeah, mazel tov to him if he has 10. That's amazing. That's absolutely awesome. And then I am so busy on the knob-billed duck that we were just talking about the shell duck. We have a shell duck at the back, over there. So we've got the Egyptian geese that we were talking about on the right. We have a knob-billed duck on the left, and in the background there we have a female African shell duck that is moving around. How cool is it? We were just speaking about them. Unbelievable. Candace, you brought up the Egyptian goose and shell duck thing, so now ask a question on lion and leopard. Quick. Maybe we'll get lion and leopard on the screen. So guys, we're going to leave our duck / gosling / geese friends, and we're going to move over to the hard and go see what's going on over there. Oh dear, so it's raining, but to be honest with you, this is good news for any of you that went to Zimbabwe. I would say even just under 2 years ago, Zimbabwe was dying from lack of water, and as you can see now, it's raining nicely. Look how green it is. That big warm weather front has come through and brought some nice rain there, and how perfect is this? Lots of water buck. You can see the male with the horns on the left hand side, and the female is chillaxing there on the right hand side, having a little bit of a sleepy. Just loving the rain. These guys love water, as their name suggests, water buck. They like water. It would be pretty ironic if they were water buck and they hated water. It would be quite bad. But these guys absolutely love water. They have very oily skin. I mentioned on Monday that very, very active sebaceous glands, you'll smell them. So waterbuck are quite stinky, and their meat can get contaminated by that sebaceous gland very quickly. So they aren't a favored prey species. They will be eaten if they have to. But if the predators can choose, they won't go for these guys. But they love the water. The water just slides off them, almost like the oil on the duck's back that I spoke about earlier. No issues. If they shook, if that male had a nice big shake, you'd see all the water fly off, and his fluffy little mane would be quite dry. But the rain has just stopped by the looks of things. I think I jinxed it. So happy to have rain in Zim, and then all of a sudden it just stopped. And I didn't dance, I promise. I did no rain dance. I did absolutely nothing. I promise. I didn't. So we're having problems with the feed, guys. Just so we're gonna head over back to Tau for some dinosaurs or Nile crocodiles, and I'm gonna get to a few of your questions. Sorry, some of the feeds are struggling at the moment. They, with all the rain and everything around, it's not helping much. But here we have a croc and interesting behavior. So I'll keep an eye out on this. I don't know if the male is trying to signal to the female. I can't necessarily see if that is a female. You generally see with the snout. The coloration, that's not two different species. Don't worry about that. It is the same species of Nile crocodile. They do get different colorations. As you see a blacksmith lapwing coming in, trying to figure out what's going on. What are you guys going to do? Don't do that. It's gross. Go find somewhere else. Lots of birds around today, so I'll keep a lookout and see whether he is trying to organize something. Generally, what they do is they go, they kind of ripple the water with their skin with vibrations that they let out. They blow bubbles. If he is trying to start something here, it's the first time I've actually seen them do this with the tail, but we'll keep going, and I'll get to a few questions because you guys are flooding us with amazing questions and comments, and I really appreciate it. This is really cool, so I'm going to go through a few of them while we watch these crocs. So we were talking about baboons. If anyone is joining us, we had an awesome sighting of Chacma baboons, okay, so I just got word now, sorry for going dead quiet there, but apparently these crocs are actually fighting, so that would make a lot more sense to me. So you're going to hear just so you guys know, you're probably going to hear a lawnmower because my neighbor has just come outside. Luckily he's got a small piece of lawn and I can't moan at him, so if you hear a lawnmower, I promise it's not anywhere near the crocodiles. Oh jeez, how wonderful. But oh, here we go, there we go. So these guys are fighting. Oh wow. So this will be over territory, guys. So Nile crocodiles are very territorial, the males in particular, and we've had a lot of rain around, obviously, as you know, so there is quite a bit of water, but generally speaking, what happens is towards the end of the dry season, when the pools start drying out, there'll be set territories that the males will start defending, and those two were really big males. And you see the one bolted for his life, so obviously that much darker one is quite a vicious guy. Now, it's so cool to see this. This is something you don't often see. They are vicious, guys. I have seen crocodiles bite limbs off each other. I've seen them bite off lower and upper jaws. I've seen them snap off tails. They are vicious. I see the ones coming back there now. I see the ones coming back now to go and have a look. So they fight. They'll fight in and out of the water. So when they go down, they have a membrane that goes over the eye. And so they can see in the water. How much good that does, I'm not 100% sure, obviously because of all the mud that'll be stirred up while they're under the water. But he's now obviously lost that other one, so now he's come up now to use his senses on the outside of the water to try and find this guy. Now that other one has probably gone underneath that grass, that floating grass there, or the water lilies, so it'll be interesting to see if he finds them. And he's going to want to kick that male out of the water and out of his little water hole quite quickly. So what he'll do is either he'll push him into another area. I'm not sure to the extent that this water hole goes. I don't know whether it's got a catchment area or whether there's a stream or something close by, but he'll push him straight out of that territory. Sometimes what will happen as well is crocodiles, when they're fighting like this, the next time they get fairly heavy rain and it's overcast, in the evenings mostly, the male that's now hiding will get out of the water and he'll actually walk away from the water hole. He will go and find another water base for him to take over. So I've actually seen it before in the Delta. We came around the corner heading back to camp one night, and it was getting dark and there was a crocodile in the road, and everyone was like, is this normal? And it is. They do move between the water holes, but this guy's big, and you can see that big rounded snout. Now the other one, I couldn't quite see the snout, but that's the way you tell the difference between the males and the females. The males have got a big wide rounded snout, and the females have got a smaller snout that kind of goes to a point. And that's really the only way to tell the difference between the males and females, besides checking in the cloaca, which is the little hole that they reproduce, defecate and urinate. It's absolutely crazy, guys. How cool is this? But you can't really roll them over to check. They don't like it. They don't like tickles on their tummy. Who knows? Who you know, I don't understand why, but anyway. But you can see he's got his mouth open. He's in breathing is heavy. He's got he's ready, and so these crocs, it's phenomenal. They're cold-blooded, obviously. Reptiles are cold-blooded, but what they'll do is when they lie in the sun, and how many times have we gone onto Wild Earth, either on the game drives or on the waterhole, and we've seen crocodiles lying in the sun, and they just lie there and they look docile, and you're like, you know, interesting crocodile or whatever. But what they're doing is they're absorbing that heat, and they store it in their muscles. And so as you saw when that fight broke out now on camera, it's quick, it's aggressive, because they store that energy in their muscles as lactic acid. Now, a big crocodile like that, the lactic acid level that they build up would actually kill one of us as a human being. We wouldn't be able to stand that amount of lactic acid. But they build it up, and so they're not marathon runners, they're sprinters. He's now, I wonder if he's found that other male, so he's clever. He's kind of gone out, had a look around. Now the water has settled a little bit, so he can go under the water, get those goggles back on, or that membrane, and now he is trying to find that other male. How cool is this, guys? It is so cool. I'm so glad we get to share this together, guys. This is so awesome. I love it. Check the old lapwing. He's like, guys, please, just relax, okay? Just calm down.
The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
Would you like to know the difference between a male and a female wildebeest? You can ask me questions like this in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live and connect with nature.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature, live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
Name. How do crocodiles mate? So Fizzy, they mate in the water. They have a interesting courtship where the males will kind of just sit below the water and they let out these vibrations, and it looks so cool. It looks like the water's dancing. It's almost like the crocodile gets shivers. and it looks really cool. And the females are very coy, kind of, you know, like won't do anything for a couple of days. The male will kind of move around and court her for a little bit until eventually they mate. And like I said, they'll mate in the water. And I mentioned earlier that crocodiles have got one single opening, both male and females. It's called a cloaca. It's where they defecate, urinate, and they also it's their reproductive. It's where their reproductive organs come out as well. And so what will happen is the male's reproductive organ will come out of that cloaca, and he will mate with the female in the water. And the male has got nothing to do with the youngsters whatsoever. In fact, in certain places there's been they can be cannibalistic once their little ones are have been born, and once they hatch, which is quite weird and gross and all of those things, but that's mother nature, and she has a reason for everything she does, trust me. And the female will move off. She'll find a nice sandy bank, and she'll dig a nice deep hole, and she will lay eggs. Now they can lay anything from about 45 up to about 90 eggs. It just depends on the situation. And she covers those eggs up. She will defend that nesting site. Fizzy, they're very, very protective over that over the nesting site. And what will happen is once the little ones are ready to hatch, they have a little tooth that they break the egg open with, and they'll come out and they start making this little noise. I'm sure you guys have heard it on TV. I'm not going to do it because someone's going to think I'm choking. And the mother will come. She will dig, go back in, and then if the little ones can't make it all the way down to the water, depending on where her nest is, she'll put them in her she's got like a sack on her bottom jaw, and she'll load them into that sack, and she'll take them into the water and release them. Now sometimes she'll hang around with the hatchlings for a day or two. Sometimes she doesn't. It just depends on the situation, and they don't really defend them either. But those young crocodiles get absolutely hammered. They get taken out by fish eagles, they get taken out by barbel, believe it or not, or catfish. They get taken out by other crocodiles. I know I've actually seen a saddle-billed stork take a baby crocodile once as well. And so unfortunately they only have a 2 to 3% survival rate to adulthood in the wild, so hence so many eggs being laid. But yeah, the crocodiles fascinate me. I love crocodiles. They're so interesting, but yet just so primal and aggressive, you know what I mean, as you just saw now with these guys fighting. There's just no forgiveness with a crocodile. They're there to survive. The instinct is to out-survive everything, including the cockroaches, and they will. They're just phenomenal creatures. They can survive droughts. Yeah, just unbelievable creatures. So Yaku, who is 11 years old. Yaku, hello, and welcome to the show. And thank you so much for watching. We love our young watchers. Also, a crocodile question. You're asking, how do crocodiles replace their teeth? How many do they go through? So, Yaku, they replace their teeth pretty much throughout their life. They don't have. It's not like an elephant that has 6 sets of teeth, and once they're on their 6th set, that's it. Game over. They've got to protect it. They're just constantly replacing those teeth. So the business end of a crocodile is dangerous pretty much 24/7. Nothing really ever changes with them. Again, very interesting creatures. Nothing that an animal that you don't want to mess around with, Yaku. So just be wary when you go fishing. I'm sure you sound like an outdoor kind of guy. When you go fishing and you're going down to the water, just remember there's always a hierarchy, and we are generally at the bottom of that hierarchy, so you must always be careful. Make sure that you are watching out for our hippo and crocodile friends. And Johan, you were saying what, you've never seen crocs fighting? Yeah, it's aggressive, Yaku. Sorry, Johan, it is aggressive. Yeah, they don't mess around, these guys. And I suppose there's just no forgiveness out in the bush, you know. You either survive or you don't. Everything is black and white. So you know, what we see as truly aggressive is survival, unfortunately, for them. And for this crocodile, this waterhole means a food source for him. It means a home for him. It means a place to mate for him. And he's not going to give that up easily at all. He will fight till the death to keep his home. And it's just the way it is out there. But we're going to leave him and his hunt for his friend. Hopefully his friend has made the right decision and gapped it. But we're going to move on and see what else is going on. And we've headed back to our baboon friends who are just chillaxing. It looks really nice there, actually, under the shade of those trees. Very, very chilled. Another question. I'm loving these questions and these comments, guys. Keep them coming. Don't forget, you can WhatsApp us, or you can send us questions and comments on our various social media platforms. We love hearing from you. It's already an hour into the show. Can you believe it? It's amazing. So thank you so much. Paula, thank you for your question, and was a Friday to you. You are asking, can animals get anxiety or panic attacks? So, Paula, I think yes, they do, but I think it is different to how it would happen with us. So, obviously, with the way in which our brain works, and in terms of how we feel and how emotional we are, in terms of the emotional evolution of our brain, our anxiety and panic attacks often happen with things that haven't happened yet. So we will be like, oh my goodness, I'm so anxious about coming onto Wild Earth this morning. Are they going to give me another starling in Kenya, and I'm not going to know what it is? You know what I mean? And you panic about something that hasn't even happened yet. With animals, everything happens. Besides, I would say elephants and your whales and stuff like that. I can't speak on their behalf because they obviously are a lot more intelligent. But generally speaking, your animals out here, they do panic. I have seen animals panicking and doing stupid things. I've seen animals panicking. I once saw a hippopotamus get chased out of the water. He panicked, he bolted, he ran into a tree, and actually he knocked himself out. So they do panic, but when it comes to anxiety, I think it's more of, I don't think it's the same as the anxiety as it would be with us. I think it's more a survival tactic / instinct, because that side of the brain is not as evolved as ours. I think anxiety for them would be, like that crocodile at the moment will be what we would term as anxious, because he's got an intruder in his waterhole that he needs to get rid of. But it's a situational thing. So once he's chased that animal out, or once the lion has stopped chasing the buffalo, they resort back to what's happening in the moment, and they calm down. Not like us that, can get like PTSD or get anxious about it happening again. And for good reason as well, Paula. You can imagine a herd of impala. How often do they get attacked by? leopard attacked by lion, especially in areas like Southern Kruger Park and Sabi Sands and stuff like that. You can imagine if they were able to get anxious like we would be able to, or we do, they'd be anxious all the time. They wouldn't eat. They'd be in constant fight or flight mode. It would be horrible. It would be a terrible existence. So I think they get it, but yeah, not to the extent that we get it. And I'm glad about that, actually, because it would be horrible to see these animals in a constant state of panic all the time, worrying about the next time they get attacked. It must be terrible. Erica, greetings from Cape Town. Thank you, Erica, and it is good to be back with you guys. And I think I've got two more shows this month as well, so I'm looking forward to spending some time with you guys. I just love it. It's just so cool. I'm just scrolling through all the awesome questions and comments and everything, guys. I want to make sure that I haven't missed anything. You guys are so important to us. Just try and get to all of your comments and everything and mention you guys, because we're like a family now. That's kind of what we are, whether you like it or not. We're like a big elephant herd, all of us here at Wild Earth. Check at these baboons just chilling here at the water. Check how they sit. It's so funny, man. Oh, look at that baby. Very gentle of that big male there to kind of pick the baby up and was like, yeah, whatever, and then dumped it back down. Oh, something happened. Having a look over here. I don't think it's anything major. Normally if it's a predator they have an alarm call or a bark that they let out. Could have just been this big male kind of just exerting his authority as he came downstream. It's such a cool sighting, man. I've often wondered to myself, if these animals, animals like elephants and baboons and stuff are fairly intelligent to a degree, in particular elephants. And I've often thought to myself, do they ever see us walking around with clothes on and go, what are you wearing? Like, what is that skin that you've got on, or what's wrong with your fur? Why is half your fur pink and the other's brown, or whatever the case is? I know I've just ruined the color spectrum there, but yeah, why is your fur different color? Are you okay? Are you ill? Do you need some medical assistance? I often wonder to myself when they look, because I've caught baboons looking at myself and guests before, in the same way that we kind of watch them, and I often think to myself, well, what are they thinking? And maybe you guys can tell me, what are they thinking, guys? When they see us, what do they think to themselves? What do they say? What do they turn to their friend and go, oh geez, can you imagine? What are they doing? So let me know in the comments, guys. Let me know in the comments. Send us your comments on WhatsApp and via social media. What do the animals think when they see us walking around? Do you think they laugh at us, or do you think that they just are like, geez, I feel so sorry for those people. They seem to have issues with their melanin. But we're going to move back to Aldania and see what's going on. I think we have some very tall friends. And yes, we have 3 big boys. And a hammerkorp. That bird on the left side of the waterhole there is called a hammerkorp. I don't know what's going on today. Every time we talk about an animal, all of a sudden it appears at some stage. I was speaking about those birds and their massive condo nests that they make. But that's what he looks like. If you look at that side profile of the head, that's where the name comes from, hammerkop or hammerhead, the shape of that head. As we've got these beautiful giraffe having a drink. So I'm really hoping that one of us who've got the the talent of the day says leopard. It'd be great if, even if it just walked past the screen. How cool would it be to see a leopard or a lion or something today, guys? I mean, we've seen a shell duck and we've seen a hammerkop and everything. Why not a cat? And we've seen crocodile fighting. How amazing! I wonder what these giraffes are quite interested in something happening. You see the ears are forward, having a look around. This one's quite interested in, looks like, in that hammerkop. So strange to see them get into the water, right? And have a drink. Sure, that's something you don't see every day, man. Like his friends are like, oh come on, don't stand in it. We were talking on Monday about the giraffe and whether they're a bendy knee giraffe or whether they're a straight knee giraffe. This is a straight knee giraffe. I don't know what the other one's going to be. Bendy. It looks like there might be a bendy. He's a bendy. So we got a straight knee and a bendy knee. Giraffe there. Cool, man. Ah yes, the things that humor us guards. So funny, man. So some questions coming through about the baboons while we have a look at our big tall friend here having a drink. So Tony T, thank you so much. You're asking, do the baboons form strong friendships or alliances, and how important is grooming? So Tony, those three things right there are the basis of what makes a baboon troop strong. The alliances that form, especially in a very large troop, the alliances that form between the females and their youngsters, and some of the males as well, that are looking at possibly taking over or leaving, is very, very important. And grooming is an extremely important part of not just baboons but also other animals too. Grooming is a way of bonding with each other. So they'll sit and the baboons will brush through the hair with their fingers, and they pull out any ticks or any ectoparasites, and it's so funny to watch them do it, because the one that's actually being preened is just absolute, or groomed, should I say, not preening as in birds, but groomed, is so funny to watch. Their eyes close and they go into complete heaven, almost like if you get like a back tickle or a head scratch or something from a family member. It's about bonding. It's about comfort and trust as well. So it's very, very important, Tony. And then Glenn, you were asking as well about the baboons. Glenn is asking us, do they swim? Glenn, baboons love swimming, especially on a very, very hot day. The youngsters will often jump from the trees into the water. They aren't fantastic, so you don't often see them in deep water, although I have in the Okavango Delta seen troops swimming across deep channels to get to islands. So they do it, but it's not something that they enjoy, because they like to be able to stand or to touch something or pull something when they're swimming. But in a shallow little waterhole like this one here, or the one where we saw them earlier, they love to play in the water and jump around. And again, as Tony was asking about how important it is for alliances and friendships, playing in the water together and chasing each other around, again, is a way of forming an alliance and a friendship within that troop. As you see the Lone Ranger here. Come on guys, where'd you go? I'm sorry I stood in the water, okay? I shouldn't have done it, and I apologize. I won't do it again. Well, off he goes. Looks like there's a little bit of cloud build-up happening there. And Aldonio. And if they might get a little bit of rain later. I mean, jeez, may as well just rain everywhere. It looks like we're going to get rain here on the north coast as well. And speaking of the north coast, Nicole from Stanger. Hello, Nicole. Just up the road from me, Nicole. Nicole was saying, my family and I don't ever miss an episode. You're the boss, Nicole. Love it. And Nicole's daughter, Chloe, has learned so much from us. She loves all the animals. And today's her 4th birthday. Happy birthday, Chloe. Happy 4th birthday, my darling. I hope you have the most amazing day. January babies are the best. Just saying, just putting it out there. January babies are the best. Aquarians for life. Love it. Well done. Congratulations, Chloe. I hope you have an amazing birthday. I hope you get spoiled by mom. So guys, we're going to leave Aldonio because we've now, our Hummercorp friend has taken over and our giraffe have decided to leave, and we're going to go and try and find a pachyderm. Oh, life is good. Look at this. Just having a proper little mud bath here with our big elephant friend. Nice big bull elephant. Oh, he's just loving life. And this is a very common sight. I've seen the elephants cover themselves in mud. He's going to sit down to get his back covered soon and his butt. But this is a very common sight. They use the mud to help cool themselves down, and to also stop them getting bitten by different kinds of flies and ectoparasites as well, but mostly to keep themselves cool because their skin is quite thick, and then quite often around the water holes, you know, if you've got like some big leadwood trees or tambuti trees, things like that with nice rough bark, you'll see a lot of mud on the tree, and that's actually from these guys. They'll walk past the tree and they rub that mud off them, and if you go and have a look at that mud, you'll often find ticks and all sorts of different ectoparasites inside it. And it's basically an exfoliation. You can see he's quite happy to be there. Chloe, close your eyes. Well, at least he didn't do it in the water. He's a nice elephant. At least he walked out of the water to do it. See, we've got some blue wildebeest in the background there. There was a very small baby blue wildebeest. As he was getting out in the distance, there was that thing that looked brown, almost like the color of an impala. That was a young wildebeest. Doesn't it look beautiful there at the tower? I remember doing the show a couple of months ago, and it was just so dry. Hey guys, do you remember? There's a few baby wildebeest there. See them, that different coloration, that fawn kind of light brown coloration. Oh, sure, this guy had a big breakfast. Looks like he's been eating quite very, very rich food. So that's I mean, do we really want to sit and talk about the fecal movements of an elephant? But it's quite interesting. So you'll see that that feces was not as solid as it normally is, and quite the color was fairly darkish, like a yellowish green. So he's been eating quite a lot of the very rich greenery, the grass, the plants. And it's interesting with elephants, actually. I was talking at the top of the show about the animals telling you about the seasons changing and weather patterns changing. Now, you'll see with that defecation now of what he's eating. Now, if you let that dry and you go up to it, it'll dry in a almost darkish green color. And a lot of the times you can see there's old elephant dung there in the foreground. It's more red. Now, what happens is as the vegetation starts to die off and we start going into the dry season, these elephants start to eat trees. They start to eat the leaves and the bark in particular. Now, the trees, as a defense, will up their tannin levels, and the tannin obviously colors things red. And so with elephants, you can actually see when your vegetation in an area has changed, when it's reached its maximum nutritional value and it's now starting to decline. If you look at their dung and it starts to go red, you know that has actually happened, and these guys are feeding on it as he's just being a pain, pushing his water buck away. But looking at his dung, as sadly we were forced to do a couple of minutes ago, the vegetation around there is in peak condition at the moment. So the animals will be in great condition. It's not good news for the predators, because obviously the better condition that the animals are in, the more difficult it is to catch them. They'll be able to run away faster, and also with more water being out in the bush, there's not a lot of them around the waterhole as there are normally during the dry season, so they have to work a little bit harder to catch their prey. But he's just loving life. What a time to be an elephant now. And for my little Chloe, who's turned 4 years old today, Chloe, look at that elephant's ear, my darling. What does it look like? Can you guess what that ear, the shape? Look at the shape of that ear. What does it look like? It looks like the shape of Africa, doesn't it? That's exactly what it looks like. And so that's a big thing about an African elephant, is their ears are the shape of the continent of Africa. Now, I know at your age you're not going to be into any geography things or anything at school. Thank goodness that time will come, my darling. But one day, ask Mom to show you a picture of a map of Africa, and look at the shape, and you'll see it's an elephant's ears. We've got a beautiful male kudu and a big bull buffalo that's just come on screen at the top. It's all happening here at Tau. I love it. This is amazing. I love it. Beautiful big kudu. I love kudu. So the kudu are part of the spiral horned antelope family, and the two of the family that a lot of you will know are bushbuck and inyala. Now, inyala are my favorite animals. I love inyala. I can sit and watch inyala all day, both the females and the males, even though the males look very different. I love spiral horned antelope. They're so chill, they're confident, they mind their own business. Really, really cool animals. I love them. Check that neck beard that this beautiful male kudu has got, with those nice stripes. And it always looks like they've just had a glass of milk. If he lifts his head up, you'll see he's got white around the mouth. I just love them. They're so cool.
Join me at Mabula Private Game Reserve from 6 to 11 May 2026 for a 5-night private safari for just 6 guests. Just incredibly exciting. Enjoy guided walks, take part in rhino conservation efforts, and explore Mabula's beautiful landscapes, from open plains to rocky hills, alive with birds, animals, and vibrant plant life.
full name is Cedric Leslie Dold. The best driver at Wild Earth, it is me. I believe I'm the best driver. I think so, because I've... Best part of my job, I say, is just to try and look out for these animals, track them down. I love tracking animals. I love looking for, fresh tracks, and if you can find them, it's just at the moment of accomplishment. If I wasn't a presenter for Wild Earth, I would be the drummer for AC/DC.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure. Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Wild Earth Travel's newsletter is your passport to a magical journey. Explore exclusive travel options featuring special offers at stunning Wild Earth locations, and all hosted by your favorite presenters. Don't miss out. Head over to our website and subscribe to the Wild Earth Travel newsletter today and stay in the know on all our unforgettable adventures. Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
For a giraffe in the wild. Obviously in captivity they can live for a little bit longer, but as I mentioned, he's going to find a nice big mud wallow. He might drink first before he lies in it, but yeah, I think the rest of his day is going to be spent chillaxing by the pool, and that's not a bad idea. And for anyone wondering, it's not uncommon to see them on their own like this. I know we've been privileged both on the game drives and on the waterhole to see humongous herds of buffalo in the past. But the buffalo herds are actually, they are a matriarchal society. They are led by the females, and the bulls are there pretty much for reproduction and for protection. And when they get to about the age of 15, 16 years old, they start to kind of, the grumpiness sets in, I think, for lack of a better term, and they just don't really see the point of being dragged from one waterhole to another, and so males that are of a similar age will kind of stick together, and will start to lag behind the herd, and that 20-minute lag eventually becomes an hour lag, and that hour lag becomes a day lag, and eventually they break away from the herd completely. Every now and again, one or two might join a herd again to mate with, but that's quite uncommon, and normally in smaller areas. But in big wilderness areas like, say, a Kruger National Park, once they've broken away from the herd, that's it. And they then become bachelors and live the rest of their days basically complaining. Sometimes they just break away on their own, like this guy, although I think he's been on his own for quite a while. He looks like quite an old boy. So this is not uncommon, guys. This is just a normal thing. He is obviously very vulnerable to lions. No other predator really is going to be able to take him down unless he gets really badly injured, in which case hyenas would try. But in his condition, really the only animals would be lions that would take him down. So he is vulnerable. But you know, when he's around the waterhole and in areas where there's good grazing and there are other animals around, he will obviously pick up on the different alarm calls and activities around, and so they generally can look after themselves. And he's going to have a little bit of a drink there on that water. That doesn't look nice, I'll be honest. It looks a bit rough. I think he thinks it's Nesquik, but it's certainly not. And then he's probably going to move over to our left and go and have a little lie down in that mud. I think that's where he's going to stay for the rest of the day. So I have a question of, do they drink the same water that they pee in? Or urinate in? Sorry, not pee, urinate. So I have seen herds of buffalo where they go into the water, so quite often the herds will walk in up to kind of their bellies and drink, and I've seen them urinate in the water while they're drinking. So to answer that question, I've actually seen it happen, which is quite gross. Whether that water there, I think that'll just be very warm, stagnant water, but unfortunately, I wish it were different. I wish I could say they were like elephants and they like very, very fresh, cool water. But for these guys, I don't think they actually care. Water's water, I guess. But yeah, pretty gross, I think. And Clifford, thank you so much for your question. I think he's going to lie down, this guy. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's so nice. Clifford, sorry, ADD, apologies. Why do animals continue coming to the waterhole even during the rainy season? So Clifford, the waterholes are always permanent water, and the rivers obviously carry water unless it's a seasonal river. Animals are very routine. So like human beings, they like to have their routine. It's safe for them. They follow that set routine quite often, especially your bigger animals. And it's I think it's like with human beings, it's a calming thing. However, Clifford, they do during the rain seasons. You see, towards the end of during the dry season. I'll give you a good example. In Hawangi, I've come into a pan, and there's been 2,000-3,000 elephants. Now that's not one herd of elephants. That'll be quite a few herds of elephant that have come together, and they have come for the water and for the vegetation. Now, when it rains, these big herds split, and they will drink out in the bush. So there'll be seasonal pans that'll go out in the bush. So Clifford, they will still drink out in the bush. A lot of them won't often come to the water. So you will notice during the rainy season while you're watching live at the waterhole that there are animals around, but not in the numbers that we're used to. And as the rainy season starts to peter out, which for us at the moment seems like it's never going to happen, but as the rainy season starts to peter out, you'll notice the herds will kind of start to congregate, and you'll get big herds of animals coming down to the water. But throughout the year they still come down because it's part of their territory / routine that they do every day. So guys, we're going to leave old grumpy Gareth here. Although he does seem pretty chilled. I think I'm actually being unfair. There was Impala and Waterbuck that were just up from him, and even though he's given them stink eye, he still seems quite chilled. So we're going to head back to Aldonio and go and see what's happening around there. Yay! Elephants! And isn't he a gorgeous boy? Look at those tusks. He's tall. This is a big boy. Really tall. This guy will be on the 6-ton scale, which means he'll be feeding on about 600 kilograms of food every day. 600 kilograms in, 600 kilograms out. They do not have a very good digestive system. They only digest about 44% of what they eat, and every half an hour to 45 minutes they pop out a perfect little compost heap, which has got seeds and everything in. And these guys are Africa's gardeners. They are the seed dispersers of the bush. And back in the day, when they were able to roam pretty much through most of southern to central Africa, they spread seeds and everything. So all the areas that have got different vegetation and stuff, we owe it to the elephants. They were the ones that started spreading all the seeds. There wasn't, I don't think Adam and Eve could get everywhere at once with their seedlings and grow everything, so they relied on the elephants to help them out, which I think is a great idea. Sadly, they don't have as much space as they used to have. They only have about 3% of the continent left in which to roam around in, which is quite sad. But I know us in conservation, there's lots of talks about expanding areas to try and open up areas for the animals. Lots of talk, lots of banter, more than there used to be actually. There was always the hope that things would happen, but I'm noticing over the last kind of 24 months there's been lots of discussions about certain wilderness areas, converting certain areas to wilderness areas, and then there's always sandparks are really, really good at this actually, with converting something into a wilderness area. I think there's another elephant coming in. And then opening up a corridor between two different wilderness areas for those animals to move in and out in. So yeah, let's hope that we can get it to 4%, 5%, and people like Chloe are the next generation to come in. Chloe, we're relying on you, man, to keep it going. We see this guy as well. And Yaku, you're not out of the conversation either. Earlier on you asked about crocodiles. You're only 11 years old, so Yaku, you also hold the flame for all of us to keep growing our wilderness areas and just to keep things going. I've got another question from Lola. Thank you so much, Lola. You're asking, can elephants ever overeat? So Lola, I don't think so. They, like as I mentioned, their digestive system just wouldn't allow it. They've got such a poor digestive system. Like I said, only digesting around 44% of what they eat. So they do have times of inactivity where they're not eating, where they'll sleep. An elephant like this boy on TV right now, weighing about 6 tons, he cannot lie down. Within 5 to 10 minutes, the weight will just start crushing his internal organs. And so, for about, I think it averages about 2 hours a day, 1.5 to 2 hours a day, he will go and rest his forehead against a big tree and sleep like that. Or he will go and find a termite mound and he'll lie on the termite mound so that he's up at an angle so the weight doesn't press too much on his internal organs, and he will sleep like that. But they only sleep for about 20 minutes, half an hour or so, and then they get up and they start moving around, offloading and eating again. But generally speaking, elephants will actually feed for about 18 to 19 hours of the day. The rest of the time they are sleeping, drinking, playing in the water, bugging other animals at the waterhole, covering themselves in mud, or as this guy is doing, throwing sand on himself. So you can see he's standing looking in one direction and his ears are open. You can see they're not against the side like they normally would be. So I have a sneaking suspicion there is another elephant around that he can see or hear. Now these guys, their communication is phenomenal. So even though we may not see another elephant there, he will be communicating possibly with another elephant at the moment, or at least feeling rumbles coming in through the feet. We won't be able to hear it, it's below our level of hearing, but he'll obviously be picking up something's happening, and that posturing, as we call it, with the ears out, will be just as he comes into a visual cue with the other elephant, that it's kind of just look how big I am, don't try chase me away from the water hole, just relax. They have a little meeting, little trunk touch, little chat, and then things will return to normal again. I love listening to all the bird sounds, and got some laughing doves and Cape turtle doves. Still got that hummercorp there. So peaceful and tranquil, isn't it? My family and I camp a lot. Pretty much every holiday we're camping, except for summer, because you just drown here in southern Africa. But there's nothing better than lying in the tent and just listening to the birds and the odd animal call. It just is the original ASMR. I just love it so much. It's so cool. Okay guys, so after our little ASMR, we're going to head over and go see an animal that is slightly smaller but just as interesting. So we're in Namibia, and we've got some springbok in the back there. I have a sneaking suspicion they were a bit closer to the water at one stage. They probably moved off a little bit, but we've got some springbok. And I know for most South Africans, when you say springbok, when you say the word springbok, you get chills down your spine. Oh, when's the next game? So proud of our rugby team. And everything they do for, not just for rugby, but for the country. They're awesome, man. And look how stunning they are. Beautiful, beautiful creatures. I love them. Very, very, very recognizable. They're actually part of the gazelle family, but very, very habitat dependent. I have been asked by guests before, you know, you've got your national animal, which is not in Kruger National Park, which is not in your national park. Why is that? And the reason is because now I'm going to be 100% honest. While I'm busy talking about the springbok, I'm not sure what bird that is. So I'm going to need some help, guys. It looks like a wader of some type. I'm going to try and figure it out quickly. I don't think it's a shaft-tailed wader. I'm not sure. You guys, I'm gonna need some help from you guys. If you can let me know what bird that is, it would be great. Just let all of us here at Wild Earth know. I'm not sure. It looks like a type of wader with all his lady friends. So we'll try to figure it out. But back to the springbok until I know what's happening with these birds. So the springbok are very habitat dependent. They don't like very wet areas. They prefer your drier areas, or at least cooler areas as well. So you do find them up on the high veld, which is a term we use in South Africa for the higher altitudes. We have the high veld and the low veld. The low veld is your Kruger National Park area, and the high veld is your higher areas around Joburg, which sits at about 1,500, 1,600 meters above sea level. And they don't feature inside Kruger Park because in the summertime the main reason, obviously besides the food type and all of that kind of thing, the main reason you don't get them in Kruger is because, as you see a female kudu walking past there, they are very susceptible to the tick-borne diseases that you get in Kruger. In particular, heart water. Now, as the name suggests, heart water literally is water around the heart and lungs, and the animal essentially drowns in fluid. And a tick species called a bont tick, B-O-N-T, bont tick, they carry the heart water. And when they bite these springbok, they perish almost immediately. So that's why we don't have them in the national park. Unfortunately, we wish we did, but we don't, sadly. And they're really nice. And you find some can be solitary, some you find in mixed herds. Very large herds, when conditions are good, they come together. So very similar to most of your other antelope species. But what's really cool about these guys is they do something called pronking. I don't know if any of you have ever seen a springbok pronk, but essentially what it is they jump up about 2 meters or so, back legs kind of straight, their front legs kind of carved in and their neck straight out. It mirrors my wife when she sees a spider, funnily enough. So she pronks too. But this pronking it's awesome to see. They also have they've got hair that comes up at the base of their back as well, white hair that fluffs out. And what they're doing when they pronk is it signals to the predators that they are fit and healthy. Now impala do the same thing. If you ever see impala doing this like rocking horse kind of gait where they almost like looks like a very quick seesaw. Generally, if I see that, I know there's wild dogs around immediately, and I start looking for them because they do the same thing. They show the dogs that they are fit and strong. And also it communicates excitement. The youngsters do it as well. It's an exciting thing that the springboks do. And I've heard as well that sometimes it reinforces social bonds within a herd. But to be honest with you, I wouldn't be able to explain exactly how that works and why it would do that. But that's what some of the guys say. And their gestation period is about 2 months less than the impala. Remember I spoke to you about the impala having an 8-month period, a gestation period. The springboks are about 6 months, so a little bit less. As we see a blue wildebeest, or a blue gnu, as they call them in East Africa, popping past as well. I've always had this weird dream where one day when I retire from guiding, I'm going to start a little pub called the Blue Gnu, and just serve local beers and just pub grub somewhere in the bush, and just be in the bush with friends having a good time and just enjoy my retirement. You got to have dreams. Just an update on my neighbour's. Now, remember earlier I said my neighbour was going to mow his lawn, but there's something wrong with it. I can see he's trying to get it started, and it's broken. So I think I feel bad. I almost wished that it would break so it wouldn't make a noise, and he seems to be having a problem with it. I'm glad in a way, but I also feel quite guilty. Anyway, sorry, that's just my ADD kicking in again. Oh, and we've got some piggies, some warthogs here at Founders. Oh man, look at those piglets. How cute. Oh man. They are very cute. I know people say warthogs are ugly, and they are to a certain extent, but they're ugly in a way that they're still cute. You know what I mean? Just look at those little butts. How cute is that? Very sweet. And it must be very difficult for the mom to look after those piglets. We call a group of warthogs a sounder. It must be very difficult for her to look after that sounder. Quite often you'll get female, because they have breeding seasons, females will join up sometimes, just kind of more eyes on the piglets. She's done very well so far. Quite a few of those piglets still around. Looks like a pretty bad day. Now we understand why that Egyptian goose was looked so depressed earlier. But I do know there is quite a bit of rain coming through there. If you guys have been watching game drives, which I hope you have, you'll see that Amakala's had quite a bit of rain. Check out that rock. That one rock looks like a female lioness. Can you see it there on the left hand side? Does that not look like a female lioness lying down on her haunches? It's amazing. Been guiding for so long and still get caught up by rocks and bushes and everything. So Erica, making me laugh. Erica, I said that sometimes my wife pronks when she sees spiders, and Erica is saying your wife must be very fit and healthy then. she actually is. I think the spiders, in KZN we get a lot of spiders, so she has no choice but to stay fit and healthy for them. And then Melanistic Marble, hello to you, it's good to hear from you. You're saying you had an idea to rent a white rhino to replace some lawnmowers. I agree. This show would be just go up a level if I could have a white rhino that I could talk to you about. It's mowing my neighbor's lawn, except for his very old and looks like permanently damaged lawnmower.
We'll see you out on safari.
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change.
I get to wake up every morning and go out there and look for cats. I get to create my everyday safari for myself. I grew up in the sort of central eastern suburbs of Johannesburg, fully qualified trails guide and a fully qualified nature conservationist. I love the wild places. I love being in the wilderness. It's probably one of the best jobs I've ever had and probably ever could have.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature, live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
human pressure in terms of hunting. So when you get areas, wilderness areas where there's no hunting that's happening, you tend to get really, really big tuskers, because the tuskers are generally, the big males of the tusks are generally the ones that are hunted. And you want those males to breed as much as possible. They generally will start breeding from their mid 20s or so, and will carry on breeding until about their early 50s. And that's only really because either they are too young to fight or too old to fight for place and mating. So yeah, that's kind of how it works. And at the moment, we do have a few tuskers in Kruger, but generally speaking, most of the big tuskers are found in East Africa, especially in the Amboseli National Park. There are some massive ones there, huge things. We're gonna leave our kudu friend here, beautiful boy, and we're gonna head over to Aldonio, back to our elephant friend. So I believe that our boy here is living the dream, and I see the Hammerkorp is still there, and yeah, I don't think his friend has joined him. But Ozzy, we were talking about those tusks. So those are big tusks, really big tusks. And the tusks, for any of you that don't know, is actually the elongated incisor teeth that grow to that level. So it's not like a rhino horn, it is ivory. It's actually a tooth itself, and like us, if it's broken off within the gum, it doesn't actually grow back, whereas with rhino horn, when you cut rhino horn, it does actually grow back. So it's really cool, man, just having a chill, and what a perfect way to end the show. This show has gone quickly. It always does on a Friday, actually. So many questions and so many comments coming through, and guys, we so appreciate you guys getting involved. In particular myself, I love hearing from you guys and interacting with us, and thank you for making the show so good. And we've had some great sightings. It was really cool to see that crocodile fight, although it was pretty quick. Would have been nice to have seen a little bit of the old Crocodile Fight Club, but yeah, we'll have to YouTube it for that. But guys, listen, I have really enjoyed my morning / early afternoon with you. Thank you for everything. Chloe, have the best birthday, my darling. I hope mom spoils you to death. And Yaku, thank you for joining us as well. So good to have the kids on Wild Earth and joining us. To the rest of you, thank you so much for your questions, and like I say, your interaction. It's been phenomenal as we watch our friend here enjoy his day. His day will just carry on. He's not going anywhere by the looks of things. Looks like he's playing some kind of game in the sand there. Okay guys, much love to all of you. Have the most amazing weekend, and I will see you and chat to you guys on Monday. Until then, much love.